Welcome back to From the Pages, where we crack open another battered time capsule and let the old magazine smell and wild kayfabe pour straight into your speakers. So hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss a trip back to the territory days. Because tonight, we're diving into the winter 1984 issue of Wrestling 84, and right out of the gate, the Newsline section slams you with Bill Apter reporting from the NWA convention in Las Vegas, where serious wrestling politics unfold in smoky hotel ballrooms as the proposed ban on the Road Warriors is suddenly dropped. Bob Geigel is quietly re-elected NWA president by voice vote, and everyone pretends there was never any talk of outlawing Hawk and Animal now that they've jumped to the AWA. With a pointed reminder that the earlier cover story sparked such a fan uproar, it leads directly into a You Decide poll later in the issue. Then the magazine shifts to Mr. Wrestling 2. The grizzled veteran beneath the white mask and reigning Southeastern Continental Champion, cast as elder statesman as he proudly mentors a new Mr. Wrestling 1, explaining that teaching is his calling, that if he'd known at 24 what he knows now, he'd have already been world champion, and reflecting on how Magnum TA was once his greatest student before betrayal turned mentorship into blood all. While 2 continues grinding out singles glory even as his team, with the new Wrestling 1 clashes stiffly with Bob and Steve Armstrong. From there, bursting straight into Dusty Rhodes in full American Dream form as he struts through arenas on his TCB tour wearing the black glove and leather cap, preaching unity, togetherness, and patriotism, boasting of bionic elbows dropped on Kevin Sullivan, the Assassins, Black Bart, Ron Bass, Wahoo McDaniel, superstar Billy Graham, and more, tying his black glove to the 1968 Olympic Black Power salute of John Carlos and Tommy Smith, calling it a symbol of unity given to him by the Midnight Rider as he promises to take care of business in 1984 and evermore. Then the random notes section detonates into a rapid fire blur of territory gossip as Giant Baba regains the PWF title from Stan Hansen in Tokyo. This fabulous Moolah protests Wendy Richter's Garden title, went through her lawyers, the masked grapplers, dethroned Marty Jannetty and Tommy Rogers in Central States. Steve Kieran and Stan Lane are attacked on television by Mr. Sato, Nick Bockwinkel, and Bobby Heenan, leaving Kieran injured and Lane stitched up. Kerry Von Erich opens a new gym. JJ Dillon manages Ron Bass and Black Bart while attempting to import the Zambui Express into Mid-Atlantic, can Padra teams with Greg Valentine under Captain Lou's questionable advice. Brickhouse Brown lands in Mid-South. Multiple Hollywood Blondes teams exist simultaneously across Georgia and Florida. Rick Rude and Jimmy Hart smash Jerry Lawler's 1984 Lincoln with King Kong Bundy driving the getaway car. Sheik Abdullah the Great puts a bounty on Harley Race, and the column ends somberly with the accidental shooting death of Brute Bernard, capped by Gorilla Monsoon at Madison Square Garden, christening Captain Lou Albino the Fountain of Misinformation, and a walking advertisement for birth control. So now, from there, Craig Peters, in this corner, becomes a rare practical guide to interviewing wrestlers, explaining the importance of research, listening for tone, preparing questions while staying flexible, and admitting that even after hundreds of interviews, he still realizes later the perfect follow-up slipped away, followed by the Managers Forum, where JJ Dillon paints himself as a true Renaissance man, detailing his love of finance, psychology, fast cars, and food, his college stock market plays, his Porsche, his transition from wrestler to full-time manager, mornings spent reading the Wall Street Journal, calling the gym to monitor Ron Bass and Black Bart, negotiating with Jim Crockett, consulting chiropractors and psychologists, breaking down match tape over lunch, and proudly positioning himself as the intellectual architect behind the Texas Long Riders. Then Crossfire pits Bill Apter and Dan Shockett against King Kong Bundy, who snarls that he never cared about fan approval, that being cheered meant nothing without dominance, admits happily to driving the car during the attack on Jerry Lawler's Lincoln, embraces being labeled a thug alongside Rick Rude, and dismisses Tommy Rich as a lifelong loser, leading into the scouting report on Abdullah the Butcher, which clinically grades his speed, strength, conditioning, technique, and ring intelligence, slaps him with an overall C, while admitting the system can't quantify blood, fear, and chaos. Then the head-to-head fantasy books, Hulk Hogan versus Bob Backlund, through the opinions of Bruno Sammartino, Ivan Koloff, superstar Billy Graham, and Stan Stasiak, splitting between Backlund's precision and Hart versus Hogan's size and power, leaving the verdict to the reader, followed by Scoreboard recapping the Road Warriors finally defeating Lawler and Idol cleanly in Memphis, the Fabulous Ones outlasting Bockwinkel and Saito in the AWA amid Heenan's protests, Billy Jack edging Dory Funk Jr. through youth and power, Harley Race surviving Wahoo McDaniel in a brutal Missouri title defense, and Nikolai Volkov battling the masked superstar to a hard-fought draw at the Omni before Interview 84 descends into darkness with Kevin Sullivan, who recounts his amateur roots, Florida success, physical transformation, and emergence as a satanic cult leader, speaking in dense metaphysical riddles about Abu Dadien Bayil and the futility of light, dismissing concerns about children, denying hypnosis, and promising to consume anyone who stands against the dark side, with a sidebar quoting Mike Graham, mourning the loss of the once great athlete Sullivan used to be. Then the private side follows Hawk and Animal on their first New York City trip as they prowl Times Square, dig breakfast from dumpsters, ride subways, rip off shirts, and terrify tourists while hardened New Yorkers barely blink. And finally, you decide anchors the issue by revisiting Arnold Scotland smashing a chair over Sergeant Slaughter's head to save Bob Backlund, using it to frame the central debate over whether managers should be allowed at ringside, laying out arguments for strategy, safety, and control against interference, distraction, and incitement, inviting fans to vote by mail, while also publishing the final results of the earlier Road Warriors ban poll, showing nearly two-thirds of fans rejecting any ban outright. And when it all closes with mail order ads for miracle teeth whiteners, muscle builders, detective badges, knives, and self-reinvention by mailbox, the issue stands as a loud, chaotic snapshot of 1984 wrestling, where politics, violence, fandom, and fantasy all collide on paper. And if you made it this far, drop a comment with your favorite moment from this issue. And stick around, because we're not done yet. We'll be tearing into the next chunk of Wrestling 84, page by page, right here from the pages.